time. More than sports now. More than crunch time. We rush like fourth down.
I be taking wins. We don't mess with laws. I be taking wins. We don't mess with laws. I be taking wins. We don't mess with laws. I be taking wins. We don't mess with laws. We been on that paper chasing all that fashion. We been on that paper chasing what you ration.
Been in the grind now. We ready for prime time. Ready for shine now. Be ready to get smile. On the rise, all eyes up on us now. Blast off spaceships till the touchdown.
Energy level on high, put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. Energy level on high, put that trouble on fire. Double it down, I'ma spit it around. Click, clack, boom, we the best in town. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though. I started off the lowest point in life, though.
Yo, we are ready to blow. I know what you're saying. You're saying, wow, Pro, you got all dressed up tonight. Yeah, baby. That's how we do. We show up and show out. You know what I mean? Let me turn the setting here to public. I'm a little in the dark. But that's all right. I'm okay. Yeah. Hope y'all doing well. My name is Pro. You're just chilling in my my studio right now. Yo, I wanted to come on and shout out my man, Christian Sutton. And if y'all don't know who Christian Sutton is, y'all just sleeping. That's my man C Steez. We're gonna have C Steez in the building next week. He put together an amazing movie. It's a movie that he shot. He's calling it a movie. It's a long video with a little bit of the behind the scenes. So movie is sounds longer than it is. So, and it's an event that I was at. It was really cool. So it was great to see him document it. It was an amazing, powerful piece that he did for Kwanzaa in 2019. He got a standing ovation. He just killed it. So I'm glad to see that he put it out there. We're gonna have him on. We're gonna run that. He's got it on YouTube, so it might shut us down because you know how Facebook does. You get something on YouTube and you shut it down. They're like, what? But I'm hoping they don't because he hasn't published to all platforms yet. So that being said, check it out next week, 9:00. Don't miss the man. What up, fam? What up, Jonah? I see you. What's going on? I'm very mellow right now. I was on the couch watching Into the Spider-Verse. You got to watch Into the Spider-Verse sometimes, especially when you got a 9-year-old. You know what I mean? And Quantumania is out. Speaking of Marvel, we got Mandalorian coming out in a couple weeks or so. You got to check that out. We got a new Spideyverse coming out in June. You got to check that out. There's a lot of good stuff if you Marvel sci-fi kind of person. It's NBA All-Star Weekend. I'm not sure if you care. Not sure if you even know. I was watching it early. I was watching the celebrity game, which really didn't have a lot of celebrities in it that I think were extremely interesting. I mean, DK Metcalf was in there. He can ball a little bit in the Ruffles celebrity basketball game. They had a kind of crazy thing where you hit this button and the Ruffles thing goes off and you double your points. And like they already had a 6-point shot. It was like, further away than the 3-point line, obviously not twice as far, but a significant distance behind between like half court and the 3-point line. So there was that. They're promoting the new Jordan movie that my somewhat famous Cambridge brethren are putting out again, Matt Damon and or putting out. You can almost just say one or the other. You say Matt Damon, goes with Matt Damon, right? It's Ben Affleck. So Ben Affleck and Matt Damon have this Michael Jordan movie about the history of Jordan. So it's a good Jordan promo weekend for that. Jordan's 60th birthday is today, which is kind of crazy. Good timing on that. And it's in Utah. And it's crazy. One thing about the NBA All-Star game, which I think is crazy, when you think about all the different cities you could have it in, you don't even say city, you say Utah. You say the whole state with Utah. But Salt Lake City, Mormon capital out there. And speaking of which, there is a Mormon of significance out there behind that team, who is not D Wade. D Wade's a minority owner of the team, and I like the fact that we know that, because a lot of times you'll hear a co-owner and all this stuff, and it's like, bro, you're not really a co-owner. You own like half of 1%. You know what I'm saying? Or 2% or whatever it is. And the person who owns like 90% or 50% or whatever the percent is usually the bigger name on the mantle who isn't quite as famous. But they have their own celebrity, because if you're familiar with the company that made Mr. Ryan a billionaire, it's Qualtrics. And Qualtrics is something in the education world, in the statistics world. It's a big product, So you see, he's what I'd call like let me actually look up. He's a minor billionaire. So the owner of Utah, um, he got his money through his family company. If you've seen Ryan Smith around, you've seen he dresses kind of like I'm dressed right now. He's always wearing like a hoodie and a hat or whatever. He's young. Dude's like 40, something like that, 45, whatever. And he's like Dwayne Wade's age, basically. He's like a couple years older than him. And he was like, his dream was like to own a team after a while, after he was mentored by Danny Ainge. He was talking about today for a while. He used to play golf with him and all that stuff. So, anyways, Qualtrics, I'm looking it up. They call themselves an experience management company, which is interesting. So, dude went to BYU, and he's like an active owner. He's out there shooting baskets with the team and that kind of stuff. So, kind of one of those dudes. Obviously, super young. So kind of wild. And so that's that. That's what's going on one side, and you got all that stuff, the Jordan promo, the big business promo, because that's what it is now. The owners of NBA teams are massive big business people. Many of you always, Jonah just typed it into. Jonah, we definitely gonna address that. True Goy passed away. Yogurt spelled backwards. If you a De La Soul fan, that was a big blow to the hip hop world. You always hope people get their flowers while they're alive. And there's far too many young people passing away in hip hop. People dying like in their 40s, their 50s. And these aren't like shooting victims, right? Which we see a lot of in hip hop too. These are people just dying of what only can be described as poor health, right? And so taking care of ourselves as people, super important. I think the hip hop community gets a little bit more impacted by some of these issues. We just think of the demographics that make up hip hop and the lifestyles that have been persistent in hip hop. But that's not to talk about, so much the cause of death rather than the life of the person who passed away, which is obviously super important too. But a lot of times, by the time we are able to address that, somebody else has passed away, maybe to something crazy. We saw the shooting in Michigan, right? The stuff going on all the time. It's like we never really address what's going on other than just the legacy of the person. So massive blow again to hip hop, a legend. It's funny, a funny story. When De La Soul first came out, first song I ever heard by them was Potholes in My Lawn. And I didn't like it. First time I heard it, I was like, they're so out the box. I was like, what is this trash? And now it's funny because that song will come on sometimes, which is going way back in De La history. And I'm like, yo, this track was so dope. What was I thinking? You know what I'm saying? There's been other songs like that in hip hop history that the songs are so massive. And I sometimes will think about like, what if that person passed away who was thinking of, and like how amazing they are. And often I think about these outside the box kind of people. Special Ed was another one. Think about that. Like Special Ed passed away right now. People be talking about him. They'd be talking about the impact he made, but it's a shame though that we don't get a chance to talk about. Like we should just be talking about Special Ed right now. I'm not trying to wish any ill fate on Special Ed, but I'm just saying when his song came out, I'm like, what's he talking about? Alligator souffle. I got it made. What is this dumb stuff? And then like 4 weeks later, I'm like, wait a minute, this song's kind of interesting. And then you hear it a year later, and you're like, yo, this song's crazy. It's just funny how when we expose ourselves to different sounds and different people's ideas, and that's what's so dope about hip hop, how we can come around and change our idea of what we think is dope. And De La is maybe the best example of that you'll ever hear. Totally outside the box, but influenced hip hop to be outside the box in that particular direction. It set off, in line with the whole native tongue kind of fam. It just set off a vibe of being free to be different and being okay with that and finding your lane. And that's what we try to talk about now for artists all the time. Is like the world is big enough for you to be brave and find your own lane instead of trying to sound like everybody else all the time. Yeah, we're always going to be influenced by our influences. There's no way around of avoiding that. But we get the homogenized sound that we get used to of whatever we think is the thing that we are quote unquote supposed to be doing, or like how it's supposed to sound. And then only when you really focus in on some of the people sometimes that will, like, pioneers, do we even think about it. Almost gives you license to be, different and outside the box, and to remember that that's what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be following the vibe that moves you, as opposed to the one that moves everybody and trying to pretend that you follow that vibe. Like, give you an example. It's ridiculous how many people start a hip hop song and go, hey, right? But it's ridiculous how many people start a hip hop song and go, yo, right? Which I do both of. But when you sit back and you watch 1,000 people adopt something, right, in real time, you're like, seriously? Seriously? Is everybody need to do this now to be cool? Does everybody need to go, hey? Does everybody have to say that? Does everybody have to say yo on a song? But eventually it seeps into your membrane. It seeps into your wave file. It seeps into what you want to hear, right? Because you get so conditioned to what everybody else is doing. So there's this juxtaposition of what everyone's doing versus what you feel on the inside. And so often psychology, we follow what everybody else is doing. And so it takes a group like De La. It takes somebody like Dave, rest in peace, man, to blaze a trail that we haven't seen before, so that we may even be able to investigate something that's similar on our own. So that's the impact for me, of groups like De La. And I think about how will De La be in the future. Will De La carry on? It's kind of like, can Tribe carry on? Without Fife, and it's they already had their issues. So we may not fully answer that kind of question, but it's like, when you lose a third of a group or a fourth of a group in some cases, does the group still carry on, even if it's just a breakup and even if it's passing away? And you just think about, it feels like De La died to me. You know what I mean? Even though that's not 100% true. I would love to see a Pasta News show, but I would really love to see a De La Soul. We know a show, but we know we'll never necessarily get to see it. And I've seen De La rock. I've seen De La in Worcester, Mass, which was a crazy, crazy concert, which you're just so thankful for, and I never this having done so many shows for so long, I feel like I've met everybody in hip hop that came up in that era, and I actually didn't really meet them. Never really met De La like on that level. I've been in the same building when they've done shows, but that's not really meeting someone. You know what I mean? So I never really met them, and you never know. Just like when you're watching someone, if it's going to be the last time, if it's going to be the first time, if it's going to be the only time. You know what I mean? So health is so important, and getting it out there, getting your music out there. Speaking of which, that's what I started speaking about. CSTs, just getting your stuff out there, yo. And that dude is a product of making stuff when he's been going through difficult times. So I'm so glad to see him out there. I got something new. I'm going to share it with you in a second. I got a track called No that I've been working on, and it's totally out the box. It's totally out the vibe. It's nothing that I would normally do. But I was moved by my man Jay Johnson's production. He's the one who did Yo That's Pro, which actually went to #1 on the college charts for us on Rap Attack Lives, which is really dope. But you never know, like, we love Dive In It. It's ProQuo fans, it's ProQuo, and we think about, like, The Devil's Dancing went to #1. Whereas, Dive In It, is like, here, it's like crazy. You just never know what people are gonna, as DJs, listeners to, whatever. So it's like, you sometimes just got to put the stuff out there and share it with other people in one way or the other. So shout out to Jen Masumba, who I'm doing a track with as well. Totally out the box kind of joint. You know what? I'm gonna let you hear 5 seconds of pre-production of me and Jen Masumba. You want to talk about out the box? Shout out to Jen. I've been talking a lot about her. We got up to the first note fam joint, which is called Drill Down Level Up. I'm gonna give you like 10 seconds of that. Let me give you 10 seconds of that. Is that all right? Can I give you 10 seconds of that? I hope she'll be excited, not mad. So here it is. This is, you know what? Let me make sure that I got the audio right. Sometimes it's not. Boom, there's the audio. Good. We're gonna do this. Play a little bit of it. Here we go.
Got a feeling, wanna run away. It's hard to breathe in the city. Everywhere I turn is a mistake. Breathing in the smoke makes me tipsy. I just wanna go where I'm okay.
Okay.
Blue skies hover over my day.
My day.
Got a feeling, wanna run away.
Yeah.
It's hard to breathe.
Yeah.
In the city.
Bro, it's hard to breathe, plus the smog make it hard to see. Hard to be who we born to be, plus we ought to be free to be who we be on the inside. Outside's telling us to let our inner kid die. Not me, I see the world kinda opposite. We need a lot, kinda lot of finding hardships. Lots give, but lots more of a trying taking it.
That's all you get. That's all you get. And you know, that's in pre-production. But that's what I'm talking about. Those lyrics right there are the sentiment that I was expressing. It's like free to be who we're born to be, you know. That's a totally different sound, you know. But the message resonates with me. So it's like I gotta do that track, you know. She resonates with me. Gotta do that track. In fact, I let her hear my track, which I thought we were talking about, you know, strategizing on a track that we would do. And I let her hear my track, and she was like, "Oh my God, this would be perfect for me." And I really think it is. Maybe I'll do a remix, maybe not. But I'm gonna let y'all hear "No" right now before it comes out. Totally out the box, different kind of thing for me too. I just heard the joint and the melody. I was driving around to my man Jay Johnson's track, and all of a sudden I just started singing this kind of hook that I really liked, and it really resonated with me. And I came right home and just kind of pulled over and wrote the joint, and that's why I did the Jen song too. So here is "No" well before it comes out. And tell me what you think, because it's totally different. You know what I'm saying? So here we go.
Well, everybody's saying no.
When all they're telling you is no, I'm singing na 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 na.
Well, everybody's saying no.
I'm singing na 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 na. When all they're telling you is no, I'm singing na 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 na.
Listen, they told me no at the interview. Really, it's been a few times, probably several now. I'm feeling pitiful, no. It's such a powerful word, 2 little letters though. Flip it around to a yes and we feel incredible, yo. Sometimes it's hard to say yes with all this negative stress and all this negative press. That's why I'm doing my best to keep a positive slant, figure my outlook. Need to be reconfigured, even my signature and outlook affects another, cause this whole world is cyclical. So if I correct another, I try to not be so critical. Sometimes that critical thinking we think is missing. Sometimes it's cause we missing these critical times we live in. Listen, people are missing their basics because their basics are missing. Life situation we placed in sometimes a different check-in. Often we cynical, know my wisdom to flip it is not a give and a take it for granted. It takes persistence. Listen,
no, I'm singing na 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 na. When all they're telling you is no, I'm singing na 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 na.
While everybody's saying no,
I'm singing na 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 na. When all they're telling you is no, I'm singing na 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 na.
While everybody's saying no, I know it can't be permanent. Believe me, I'm respecting that. And even while we learning that, we need to have perspective that feelings can change like the weather, whether we want them to. But we can help ourselves sometimes. That's if we bother to use a little kindness in life and put some effort in. You got a D on that assessment, don't say F it then. Look, I never been one to get too high or too low, but yo, I can't lie, sometimes I can't stand to know. I can't stand to know the score before I see the game. I truly believe our presence matters, we can be the change. If you can conceive it, you can achieve it, that's the secret frame. A mind we need and sow the seeds and watch some seasons change. We need the pain sometimes, so when they're telling me no, I show a smile and put that no inside my melody, yo. The motivation we need, sometimes rejection, so I can go right back to the lab and achieve perfection with your no. Well, everybody saying no.
Daddy, say the one I made.
When everybody's spreading hate, I spread love. When everybody's spreading hate, spread love.
And that is no right there. So appreciate it, Jonah. Appreciate it. My son really did write the end, so I wanted to represent that. He was in the kitchen and he was, he just started humming it after I made it. And he was like, well, everybody spreading hate, I spread love. I was like, what'd you say? He's like, yeah, I like this version. I was like, you just wrote your own version, man. You my co-writer. So I had to get him on there. So at the end, he's like, Daddy, can you sing my version? So I was like, yeah, let's get that on there. So that's why I was singing that at the end. Co-writer credit right there. You know what I'm saying? You say 3 words, kind of like DJ Khaled, you're a co-writer, We're gonna have to negotiate his percentage there, when we're doing the publishing split sheets. So see what he gets. But that's my man Jay Johnson on the production. Robbie Rowland on the engineering. Shout out to Robbie. Robbie's been dealing with a couple of health things, so shout out to him. Best to him. He's also going to work on that Gen track for me when he's feeling a little bit better too. And the Gen track is crazy. It's obviously not done, but it's similar in a lot of ways. Those tracks. So they're a little more substantive. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you. You talk about my voice, but you got the golden voice too. I don't know about that, bro. I don't know about golden, but I'll take it, and I appreciate it. You're an MC's MC. Thanks, Jonah. Looking at some other comments here I can't necessarily put up because of the cursatory nature, but I appreciate it. And then there's a couple spam ones in here. I want to offer promotion. Okay, thank you. Got another promotion. I think is a promotion. Do I want to say the website? No, I don't want to say the website. We're gonna keep those to myself because I don't know who these people are. So so the only other thing that I really wanted to dive into, dive in it is let me say a couple things. So I'm performing at UVA again. Shout out to my man Bernard. On Monday, it's President's Day. I'm bringing my son again. He wants to know how much he's getting paid from what I get paid. So he's like, he's trying to get himself. He's trying to hustle up the gaming chair and gaming PC. And so he's like, Daddy, from what you get paid, you can just buy me a gaming PC easy. And I was like, it's not so much the money, bro. It's more like, do I want you to have a gaming PC at 9 years old? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've always had like 10 as the number in my head since he started saying it. But now I'm like, do you want to lose your kid to the dark side? You know what I'm saying? Do you want them gaming 24/7? We got a little cap on what he can do, and he does a little bit more on the weekends. But here's the juxtaposition. And so families out there that, got kids, you appreciate this. It's a little humble brag on my son. So, which, if you know me, I do. So he brings home his report card, but he doesn't bring home his report card. And let me go into detail about this, right? So if you've not seen the show before, I'm a math guy. I'm a math professor. This semester, by the way, I'm actually teaching 3.5 courses. We had a faculty member get sick, took over her classes, and I'll be doing them for the remainder of the semester. So it's the first semester I've ever done at UDC. People are like, yo, what's it like teaching classes? I only teach like 1 class, sometimes no classes. One semester I got to teach 2, but I've been there 5.5 years. So to really only teach 1 course a semester, I don't really full-time teach. I more like part-time teach in a full-time role, and this semester I'm really doing basically a full load of what a faculty member would do. And you think about, students that are back in the classroom, students that are back at it, thinking about our realities, our schedules. We're going back to a full schedule soon. And by that, what I mean is faculty will no longer be doing the 3-2 split that we do soon. A lot of schools are dealing with the same thing. People are figuring out like what's full time, what's part time, what is the mix. Some companies will never go back to be the same, but others will try to go back. And we think about our students and our kids and like what they've experienced through this, and like, what is a 9-year-old? We have these traditional images of what a 9-year-old should be, right? But for like 2 years and 2 years plus, really, the way that the world has been affected by COVID-19 and what had happened for our little people at that time who were going through education is something we'll never forget. And it's something that has really stifled their growth in some cases, right? So you look at a 9-year-old, and in some cases, it's more closer to a 6 or 7-year-old on the experiences they have in life. Like, I don't know about you, but my son doesn't remember things like pre-COVID, like you should. Like, you don't forget everything from when you're 6 or 7, but it'll just be like something he did that was like a normal thing. It's like really foggy on it. It's like COVID fog, and he's not alone on that. There's a lot of people that are, because it all kind of blended into the being home and wearing sweatsuits, and pre that, they're like, what was happening? What were we doing? So when your kid is excelling, I'm a math professor, right? A lot of people be like, yo, your kid's naturally going to be smart at math. And I'm always one to dispel that myth and rumor. It's no, he's around it, right? He's encouraged, he's motivated, he's got someone there who cares about it, who's competent in it. And yeah, of course, you're able to do a lot well, i.e., right, Steph Curry, look at whose dad was, right? It's not just an accident that he became the greatest three-point shooter of all time. Sure, he had to put in unbelievable work, but you got a few things going for you. You're 6'2" going into college. You're 6'3" by the time you get out, right? 6'3". I'm 6'3". I am a tall. I'm a huge person compared to the average person in the world. I'm a huge person. Every day I might see, if I'm lucky, one person taller than me, right? I'm like 6'3" and a half, 6'4" in shoes, 6'4" and a half, 6'5" if I get the right shoes on, right? It's like I'm an exceptionally huge human being, but I'm short by NBA standards, right? Um, Similarly, Steph Curry is a massive human being compared to most people, just in terms of height, anyways. And he's an unbelievable in shape physical specimen, right? Who had some ankle injuries, blah blah blah. By the way, the documentary's out on I think it's on Netflix. You can watch too. It documents some of this stuff. My point is that if you didn't have a dad who's an unbelievable three-point shooter in the NBA, and you're on the bench since you're a baby, right? And you're around that culture your whole life, you're maybe not, probably not, almost certainly not going to become Steph Curry. Are there others who do it? Yes. But when we start to look at the reason why, you look at Jason Tatum, right? I'm a huge Jason Tatum fan. He's going to be in the three-point contest. I posted a video on my Facebook page. If you're watching this right here, just scroll down a little bit, of him shooting like 55 straight three-pointers from NBA land. He's just going like from one side to the next, pretty much the same place, somebody passing him the ball, 55 straight, and then the camera stops. You have to assume he missed that shot. There's one of Steph doing the same thing, hitting about 100 from the side, which is the easiest three-pointer to hit, but he hit about 100 from the side, right? It's like, but Jason Tatum's dad was a professional. He played college D1 ball and then played professionally overseas. It's like, and got a mom who was, there doing everything she could to keep this in his life, and had the right outset, the right mindset to make all this stuff possible. But you got a kid with ridiculous work ethic, and who happens to grow into a 6'9" frame, 6'8" plus, right? Which is, I am dwarfed by a 6'8" plus person, and he can shoot 55 3-point shots in a row. I'm in the gym every single day shooting. Granted, I don't get paid. I'm getting my own rebounds. And trust me, when I hit over 10 straight 3-pointers, I'm pretty excited about it, because I know 99% of the world cannot do that. And it's taken a lot of work just to be able to get there. I look at my son and I see the work that he's put in math, right? Just as a little kid. And he got his report card back, and it seemed like he was hiding it. And he also got their standardized test back, and it seemed like he was hiding it. And it was like 3 days. And I'm like, finally, I say, you bring that little thing home. You bring that home today. So I'm digging through his bag for it today. And sure enough, part of what he reported was true. He's like, yeah, I think I did really well on the math standardized test, but reading, I think wasn't as high. I dropped a lot. He read it wrong, and no one really explained it to him, right? So he hit 98th percentile on a national comparison, right? For the state test, right? They compare you to the national state. He did 98th percentile for math. Am I stunned? No, because I see what he does, and I'm like, yo, he is really good. but I'm expecting him to be really good too, right? Because of everything we just talked about. And he really puts in the work on top of who he has at home, right? And the home situation in general. Akin to Jason Tatum with a mom that's really motivated and supportive. He has that too, even if she's not out there playing math, or like his mom playing basketball. And then like reading, right? He's an exceptional reader as well. Now he needs to get his acting gear a little bit more on the reading side. Things like games can get in the way. And here's my point. He scored 92nd percentile in that. He thought he was 68th because he read the report wrong. He was reading percentage of people he did better on growth. So we had the discussion on percent change, which is something I've been working on with him anyways. Give you a situation. I buy this sweatshirt, right? The sweatshirt costs $50, right? You get a hoodie for $50. But let's say it was originally $60, right? So what's the percentage decrease? And percentage decrease, the formula is pretty simple. You take the price of this one is $50, so that's what it's at now. But you have to think about what was it originally. So original minus new over original is how you calculate the percent, right? So it's basically 60 minus 50 over 60. So what percent is 10 of 60? It has nothing to do with the 50 really, except that that's what you get for the difference. So 10 over 60, 16.6%. I can do that in my head pretty quickly because, again, that's what I play with and that's what I do. So for me to look at that and go, percent decrease, bang, I got it really fast. I get the concept. If you don't really have that much room to move, if you started out with a 60 and you go to 100. So if I hit 6 out of 10 free throws and I go to 100, we can talk about what is the percent increase, right? Hey, I got a 60, but then all of a sudden I got 100. What is 100 minus 6? That's 4. 4 over 10. You're looking at what my percentage is the wrong way. If you're thinking about over 10, it's really over what you hit the first time, right? First time I hit 6, 4 over 6, that's 66% growth. That's still massive improvement, but not as much improvement as someone who hit 2 free throws the first time and then hits 8, right? And you do the same math, 8 minus 2, that's 6, but it's like 6 over 2. And you're like, whoa, okay, this guy did a 300% increase, right? You see how this game can work. So my son is reading, his percent increase for reading was only 68%. The thing that really set him back was that he was in the 98th percentile, something ridiculous like that as well, even for percent growth in math. I think actually, math, he got 94 and the percent growth was 98 because he was already pretty high. He was like 88% the first time, and then he went up to, 94. And that's a big growth. And most people didn't even have growth. So in math, again, because of the COVID fog and all this kind of stuff and people emerging from it and losing steam, all of this really to say that how do you reward when your kid's knocking it out the park, but they're doing something over here that you don't want to do? And they're like, well, Daddy, look at my report card. Look at my standardized test. Look at actually the things you say you're concerned about. Why can't I get a gaming PC? Why can't I get a little bit more time on the computer, right? So for parents out there, it's like, are we putting our money where our mouth is? How are we governing? How are we parenting? What kind of, is what the kid want? Is it central? And are you going to lose the motivation if you don't, do something in that direction? So for me, it might be a gaming chair for now, right? Before the gaming PC, he has to see that it's attached to something or he might lose that steam. And he went up from all threes in one of his categories, which is still good, to all fours, right? With comments that were like out of this world comments. Like Henry's already amazing and this semester is just unbelievable, the growth and his determination and dedication and his persistence as an incredible citizen, all this kind of like flowering stuff. And it's like, what do you do with that as a parent? If you're not rewarding that, you might be missing the opportunity, and we have to know what motivates each other. We have to know what motivates our kids, and we don't want to lose them on that trail. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at it on the parent side. It's not a perfect game. It's not a perfect science, but we do what we can, and always interested in how other people are doing. We got to have a whole parenting show one time. We just got to do a whole parenting show on the ProQuo Show. And to that, we need a whole show on education. We need a whole show on people that are doing great things in music, like my man C. Steez. So check him out next week. We'll do the ProQuo Show with C. Steez. Just kid doing phenomenal things, and his whole story is just amazing. And he needs to be a documentary in himself. All right, y'all. I'm Pro. I am out of here. And remember, when everybody's saying no, I say na 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 na. Tune them out and turn it into my melody. When everybody's saying no, I say na na na